Let's switch gears now. So this morning, the fear of mass firings is swirling to the FBI, with some agents even preemptively packing up their desks.
This unease comes after President Trump publicly praised the firings of 8 top FBI career executives. The Trump administration is quickly trying to reshape the agency shortly after granting those sweeping pardons to the January 6th rioters.
For more, we are joined by NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Reilly. Ryan, good morning. So in a message to staff members over the weekend, acting FBI director, this is Brian Driscoll, he said that he had been told to turn over the names of every FBI employee involved in investigating January 6th rioters. Talk to us about the impact this is having within the Bureau and what we're hearing from the agency. How are they responding?
Yeah, that's a lot of individuals who worked on those cases, because you're talking about, more than 1,500 criminal cases that were brought. That doesn't include all the investigations that were done, which is over 2,000. More than 3,000 people stormed the Capitol altogether. And every step of the way, you have FBI employees who were involved in those processes, whether it be from just like helping effectuate an arrest to whether it be, actually the lead agent on a case or a supervisor or something of that nature. So you're talking about a really large group of people. And remember, as much as we've gotten away from the reality about what the FBI is, it's a conservative-leaning organization. So there were definitely components of the FBI that weren't so enthusiastic about investigating these January 6 cases altogether. And those people are going to be on those lists who weren't so enthusiastic, right alongside the people who were sort of really working on this with all of their might. So you're going to have a really large range of people who are going to be impacted by this. It's really crisis mode, I think, at the FBI right now, with a lot of panic about what this means. Although, the acting head of the FBI is standing strong right now and has a lot of support from a lot of the agents within the Bureau.
Ryan, we know some agents have actually been sent a 12-question survey asking about their roles in January 6 cases. What more can you tell us about this survey?
Yeah, and I can't just stress how unusual this is, right? Because you're literally compiling a list of individuals who worked on the largest investigation in American history, involving the storming of the Capitol and violent rioters who bashed in officers' heads, used every kind of weapon they possibly could against these officers, dragged them down the stairs. And you're getting individuals who tried to, vindicate the rights of those victims who were brutalized that day, who are now being added to this list. And, this was something that the FBI said it was going to be able to handle, right? I remember there was this email afterwards, right after January 6th, saying, we do big. And now what you had here is, because it targeted so many Donald Trump supporters who believed his lies about the election, ultimately 4 years later, this is going to be this major crisis pivot moment for the FBI. And it's a big question about whether or not any FBI agents would ever want to touch a case that remotely had anything to do with even Donald Trump supporters at this point. I think the chilling effect that this has on the Bureau really can't be overstated.
Ryan, this is all playing out, of course, while the Senate weighs whether to confirm Trump's pick for FBI director. That's Kash Patel. What is he saying about all this?
Yeah, so, the timing is really fascinating here, because he got in that hearing before this sort of purge started. So if this had happened before, even though these are a lot of people he's affiliated with, he claimed that he didn't, know a lot to do with the leadership that was being put into place. But, he made some of those promises at that hearing about the handling of this. This just really shows, I think, how Kash Patel and how Donald Trump continue to have this obsession with January 6 cases, and really have these deep grievances about how those cases were handled. Although I should say, Kash Patel did say that he thought that the pardons were wrong for anybody who assaulted a law enforcement officer that day. So I guess he's sort of drawing this separate line. But the practical effect that's happening within the Bureau right now is that a lot of agents feel as though they're being targeted for responding to an attack on America, an attack on their country.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.